love that music, that intro music. Hi, everyone. I'm Daniel Guest, and welcome to the Imagine Golf podcast. Today, I want to talk about something that we see all the time. If you're a golfer, I'm speaking to 90% of you. If you're an amateur golfer, I'm going to be speaking to 90% of you. And that's the slicer out there. 90% of all amateur golfers slice the golf ball. And slicing, by definition, is simply cutting across the golf ball. For a right-handed golfer, that's a golf ball that veers significantly to the left to right. And we're not talking about a push or a block. We're talking about a hardcore slice, a banana curve style slice to the right. It's nothing new. It's been happening for 300 years. It's going to happen for another 300 years as well, I'm sure. But it is something that can be fixed relatively simply. And before we get talking about, what it is we do to help golfers that slice the golf ball, let's talk about why you in fact slice the golf ball. And it's pretty simple, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. There's only one reason and one reason only why someone slices the golf ball, and that's simply that the club face is open relative to the swing path. All right, let me say that again. Your club face is open relative to your swing path. So it doesn't matter if you swing over the top, you swing out to in, you swing in to out, you bring the club high in your backswing, you bring the club low in the back, and none of that matters. What matters is that club face is in fact open relative to your swing path when you strike the golf ball. And when that happens, you cut across the golf ball and you impart a significant amount of side spin on the golf ball, and it has no choice but to start to the right and continue to the right for the right-handed golfer. So, Hank Haney infamously said, on the road to good golf, there's no room for slicing. And he's right. You cannot go from slicing to good golf, And I have people say to me all the time, "Hey, Daniel, I sliced the ball all my life." And that's a whole nother issue. But, I shoot in the 90s. Well, that's great. All right. You shoot in the 90s, but you don't shoot in the 80s. And you don't shoot 72. And you're likely never going to get there if you slice the golf ball. So the average handicapper in America is right around 16, 17, 18, depending on what index you believe. And by the way, that's only people that actually keep a handicap. And that's only about 10 or 11% of Americans that actually keep an official handicap. So for all you other people out there, the average, when you factor all them in there, you're probably looking at more like a factor of plus 25 as an average handicap. So, and for those of you that have always sliced the ball, or for those of you that continue to slice the ball and are taking lessons, my advice to you is get another instructor. Because if you've taken instruction or you're taking instruction and you still slice the golf ball, you need another instructor. You should be seeing results immediately, and it's not that hard. So at Imagine Golf, I'm going to walk you through what we do to change, your slicing pattern, if you would, and change it for good. And you can apply our philosophy to golf instruction to really any golf ball. But for today's podcast, we're speaking about just slicing. So let's talk about Imagine Golf and what we do here really quick. We don't believe in Imagine there's one way to swing a golf club. We believe there's infinite ways to swing a golf club. And if you're watching the PGA or the LIV Tour or any professional tour for that matter, never before have there been more types of different golf swings on the tour. So that's a testament to exactly what we're talking about. And we do believe, though, that there is one most efficient way for a golfer to swing a golf club. And there's the rub. That's what we're trying to figure out on a daily basis. How do we make our students or the golfers in front of us more efficient? And if we can do that and make their swing more efficient, they'll immediately strike a better golf ball. They'll immediately become more consistent, and they'll immediately become more confident. So if you're more consistent, strike the ball better, more consistent and more confident, you're starting a positive snowball effect, if you would, to better golf, as opposed to the negative snowball effect that most people are experiencing on a daily basis in America, or at any driving range for that matter in America. So let's get back to the slicing piece, right? Well, how do we fix that slice? Well, first and foremost, when students come to see us, I just go through a questionnaire, simple questionnaire, if you would, with everyone. Why are you here today? What are your goals? What are you looking to accomplish? How long have you been playing the game? Have you taken professional instruction before? Just go through these basic questions with everyone for the file, if you would, and then we get them swinging the golf ball or swing the golf club and hit a golf ball. And from there, it's pretty easy for me to assess what's going on in their golf and what we need to fix first. Going back to Hank Haney, he's a big fan of the big miss. What is your big miss? And let's start to fix that. And we are too at Imagine Golf. We say to the customers, hey, if you had one thing that you could fix to play better golf, what would that be? And again, 90% of you, that's going to be your slice. So if we're talking about slicing today, let's talk about what it is that we do to make it better immediately. And the first thing we don't do is we don't ask you to hit a ton of golf balls. So you'll hit 7 to 10 golf balls just so we can get an assessment of what's going on. And then from there, we're going to talk to you about what we need to fix. We might even throw you on video just as a baseline, if you would, and show you what you're currently doing so you can see it firsthand. And again, use that video as a baseline as we continue to work together. But then we're going to start right at the problem, if you would. And we're going to start with some off-ball exercises. And what I mean by that is we're not going to, have you hit a ton of golf balls, like I said, and start doing this or that. What we're going to do is we're going to start getting you to swing differently immediately. So one of the drills we like to do is we take, a driver as an example. You'll take your driver stance, whatever that stance may be, it doesn't matter. And we'll ask you to take the driver and we'll ask you to put it in front of the golf ball. All right. And you're going to put it in front of the golf ball and you're going to take a circle, a clockwise circle around your head and back to the golf ball. So you're going to start forward in your swing, not going backward in your swing. You're going to start forward and you're going to immediately notice that the club reacts differently. The shaft moves differently than what it does in your normal golf swing. So the other thing that you're going to notice is that the club itself, it starts to shallow just a little bit differently and it's wider than what your normal swing is. Most people that slice a golf ball have a very steep descent to the golf ball, meaning the shaft and the club face is too steep as it descends to the golf ball. And it many times, more times than not, has an over the top, meaning the club head or the club face comes over the line, over the swing plane on the way down to the golf ball. Neither one of these things happen when you start your golf swing with this drill. So you're going to get in front of the golf ball with the club face. You're going to take your regular stance and you're just going to go around your back, around your head, and back to the golf ball. And you're going to do this 7 times before we do anything. Why 7, you ask? Well, look, there's something about the number 7 that our brain remembers better. So we utilize that in our practice here at Imagine Golf. And if you don't believe me, just take a look at other things in life, right? 21 days to make a habit, a factor of 7. Your short-term memory is 7 minutes for that matter. So there is something about the number 7 that our brain remembers better. And so everything we do, all the drills and the drill protocols that we prescribe are done in 7 repetitions. And then we go back and we hit 7 regular in your regular stance shots. And then we continue going back and forth, alternating between 7 in the drill protocol and 7 regular shots. And we do that no less than 3 sets or 3 repetitions, 3 times. So all of our drill protocols have 42 balls in them. 21 balls in the drill and 21 balls in your regular or your new stance for that matter. So it's been proven. I've done, my God, now over 27,000 lessons, and we have a Golf Better guarantee, if you would. And in 27,000 lessons, no one's ever asked for a refund or asked us to give us their money back for a lesson that didn't work. So we know what we're doing, and we know this drill protocol works. It's so much better than the traditional golfer that I see every day on one of our ranges, just pounding balls, raking balls, pounding balls, raking balls, pounding balls, making a change here, making another change there, making a small tweak here, making a big change, wholesale change there. And just when you say it out loud, you know that's not a way to get better. So if you're not planning, or if you don't have a routine that you're working on, you're not going to get better. I can guarantee it. I've been golfing for 45 plus years now, and there's no chance that you're going to get better just through repetition of hitting golf balls. So back to the slicing drill. So we're going to get you to do that drill, if you would, right? The club head's coming, or the club is coming over your head. You're starting to feel a little bit differently. And now we're going to ask you to take that club, that same drill, but now when you're at 12 o'clock, so the ball is basically at 12 o'clock. So when you're right behind you, right directly behind you, when that club is coming down, we're going to ask you to start turning your shoulders just a bit. So you're going to bring the club back. It gets about halfway back, 12 o'clock, and you're going to start turning your shoulders like a regular golf swing. And before you know it, you're going to notice that that club is really starting to come in shallow, and definitely from the inside. And that's what we're looking for from our better players and for our students. We're looking for a golf club that comes from the inside and moves to the outside, and we want that club to enter around 430. What I mean by 430, if the ball position where you're teed up at is noon or 12, then just go back back to your right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4.5, and you're going to notice that's 430, if you would. And that's where we want our hands and our club head to start, our club shaft, if you would, to start coming down into the golf and into the golf ball. If that's the case, you're going to hit a ball inside out, and you're going to actually produce a draw flight on that golf ball almost every single time. So what you're not going to produce is a slice. So no matter where you hit it on the club face, if you're coming from the inside, 99.9% of the time, you're not going to hit a slice. So when we ask you to do that 7 times, and you're going to go through that drill 7 repetitions. And then the last thing we're going to do is now we're going to try to get you to put it all together in a regular swing, if you would. So you're going to feel that swing. You're going to feel that club come from the inside. You're going to feel that club come around you just a little bit differently. And you're going to swing through the golf ball more towards right field. And we call it 1 o'clock. So we put those 3 things together. The clockwise swing, then the clockwise swing with a shoulder turn, and then the clockwise swing, shoulder turn, and then swinging through to 1 o'clock. It feels completely different. And we're probably in, 7 to 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, depending on the student, into the lesson. And we haven't even hit a golf ball yet. So now we put a golf ball down and we say to you, hey, look, let's put that swing to practice and hit a shot. And it is amazing to see the look on people's face when that ball starts going right to left, or they hook the ball. They never hooked the ball in their life, and now they're hooking the ball. And it's revolutionary, for lack of a better, right? With regard to what they're used to doing. And it doesn't take anything more than that. I'm kind of pausing to think if I'm missing anything, but it really doesn't, right? Once we get that club face to square more relative to your swing path, you're going to hit a better shot. And you could have everything else going on in your swing that's completely wrong. But and we need to work on that. Don't get me wrong. There's a million things that we need to work on. There's a million things. Nobody has a perfect swing, right? Even a pro. But we absolutely will see an incredible change in just 7 to 10 minutes, if you would, in just a few golf swings. So that's it. There's no magic pill. There's nothing out of the ordinary that we do that any other golf instructors can't do. We do work with the students on if we're talking about a driver, on their driver setup. Most amateurs, they buy these new high-tech drivers that have multiple changes that can happen, multiple pieces that you can move around within the driver. And 99% of the guys and golfers that we see haven't changed it at all. So they have a customizable driver that's $700, and they haven't changed it at all. So what we look to do with our students, especially on the slicers, is 2 things. One, we want to get the loft up many times to the max. So you got a 9.5 driver, and we're going to raise the loft, and you're going to say to me, hey, why are you raising the loft 2.5 degrees or 1.5 degrees, whatever the max is? I don't need that. I already hit a high driver. Well, what many people don't know is when you raise the loft or you adjust the loft on a driver, you in fact close the club face. So that's a win for the slicer. So if you're doing a slice like we just outlined in this podcast, you're not going to hit it. You're not going to come from underneath the ball anyway. So we're not worried about hitting it too high. You'll see the proof is in the pudding. So we have our students elevate that driver, right? The second thing we do is we move the weight. If there's a weight piece component to it, we move the weight to the heel of the golf club. And it's kind of counterintuitive, I get it. But if the weight is on the heel of the golf club, the toe is lighter. If the toe is lighter, it's going to move through the ball a little bit better, hence closing the club face again. So we have two adjustments that are now in our favor and not working against us. They're working for us, working against the house. With the house, in this case, the house is the golf course or your swing for that matter, and that's going to help us produce a better flying golf ball. So we do that, and then on top of that, we make sure that the customer's grip is a little bit different. I'm a fan of a stronger grip, slightly stronger than most, I bet, but our most instructors for that matter. But we are big advocates at Imagine for 3 knuckles on the top hand. We want to be able to see 3 knuckles. We want that thumb on the inside of the shaft, and we want the trail hand, your right hand, your bottom hand. We want those V's to go back towards the back shoulder. And if that's the case, coupled with everything we just talked about, the golfer is going to hit a much better golf shot. So in review, we're looking to get you to essentially square that club face and square your hand, your lead hand at impact better than you ever before. And we might have to go through a multitude of exercises to get you to do that before we start hitting balls. But we're going to get you to square that hand. Left hand, I'm talking about your lead hand at impact. Most people, when they're hitting a slice, that hand is turned to the side a little bit. You're actually going through the zone, the impact zone, with your front hand on a kind of a side parameter, if you would. So we're going to get you to square that hand, and we're going to get you to swing towards right field or 1 o'clock, and we're going to get you to turn that ball over. And when you do all those things, you're going to produce a straighter, longer ball flight. I guarantee it. And that's it. So to take a look at us on our website, imaginegolf.com. I want to thank PXG for sponsoring us. For those of you who haven't hit PXG, you need to. If you haven't demoed them, go to your local PXG store and demo. There's clubs of choice. They are, in fact, they're the clubs of choice that I choose, and they're clubs of choice of most of our better premier players. PXG.com and imaginegolf.com. So all of our social sites are at the bottom here. So in the description, take a look at them. And thanks for listening.